The ministry of Parkridge opened its doors in 1993, and our mission has always remained the same: to save lives, spare hearts, and further the gospel.
Parkridge exists to be the light in a very dark world in the midst of some very dark and hard topics. To speak truth and life into people when no one else will. So we realize we're in the middle of a battle for life and death, and in that battle, Parkridge is on the front lines, serving men and women right where they are.
When our clients come in the door, an unplanned pregnancy or an STD may initially bring them in. Often what we find is that when we hear their story and we ask them intentional questions, we uncover things like childhood trauma, sexual abuse, domestic violence, eating disorders, depression, anxiety.
It's hard to wrap your mind around the heaviness of what's going on in these girls' lives. The pregnancy is kind of just the surface, and so we're trying to deal with their medical needs and meet that first, but to also kind of help unpack this crisis and kind of what's going on in their life.
Every day we have women calling, asking about termination procedures, the cost, the availability, where they can go. Those are the types of clients that are calling in. Some may even have a procedure scheduled, but we're able to help them see the value of pushing pause for a moment, of getting all the information, of getting the excellent medical care and our evidence-based education before they make their final decision.
A lot of the girls that come in this building, they've never been valued. So how can they value life when their life's never been valued? So whether they have a history of abuse, or they're currently in a bad relationship, or they haven't had great role models their whole life. It's no surprise to us that they don't see value in this life, because no one's ever seen value in theirs.
One of the things I love about the mission of Parkridge is that actually putting action to a conviction, biblically first of all, that every life is sacred and made in the image of God and important to God, and therefore important to us and need to be protected. But then even again, meeting needs, practical needs, and putting action to this in a way that's helping people one soul at a time, one heart at a time that come through the doors of Parkridge.
Our most powerful tool that we have here is the ultrasound. When we do an ultrasound, I think the first thing people are surprised by is that there is a heartbeat there. And sometimes knowing that we in this clinic may be the only ones to ever see that little beating heart, that life matters to us and it matters to God.
One of the things that we provide at Parkridge is post-abortion recovery counseling through support groups and individual counseling. And we do this because abortion is not a one-day isolated incident. Many times it continues to build. And it's interesting because it's something that women usually hide and try to tuck away and try to forget about. But it's also a trauma that usually manifests itself in many other ways. The power of our post-abortion groups is that they get to be in community with other women. We get to reiterate the truth of God's forgiveness and say, this is not what God wants you to carry anymore.
One of the great services that we provide is STD testing. There is such an area for redemption and showing them the love of Christ. And they're usually at a point in their life where maybe they're not in the middle of a crisis pregnancy, but something is going on in their life and they're ready to make a change. They're primed and ready to make choices that are healthier for their body, healthier for their heart, and to help draw them closer to Christ.
Just the ability of clients to be able to come in and not feel threatened is a very unique situation. And I do feel people's hearts can be changed that way a lot more than they would be by being preached to or shunned or condemned for past mistakes. Through the years of being involved with Parkridge, I've seen growth from the standpoint of extending care and concern not just to the mother and the unborn child, but reaching out to the father of the child, reaching out to other family members to counsel during those times.
When a woman comes into Parkridge, she is rarely making this decision alone. Most often there is a guy involved in the decision. Now we do have trained men's volunteers on staff who are available to meet with those fathers of the baby that walk through the door. I think men in our culture have been very silenced on the abortion issue. They've been told that they're not allowed to have a voice. And if our men can help these young guys realize they can have a voice, that is helpful, that comes into the situation and says, hey, we can do this together, that can make an impact for generations.
I'm thankful to God for Parkridge for the life of my son. What Parkridge showed me is that it's not the end of your life, and you do get to continue on, and you get to live this abundant life. Parkridge does totally give a voice to the unborn and speak life and light to these babies and these moms as well.
Parkridge exists because God always has a plan for redemption. Even when difficult situations, even when choices go against His plan, He always has a way of redemption and restoration.
The issues that we're facing today seem so overwhelming and so daunting, like how could one person make a difference? But there is so much going on right here in our own community, and we have to be the hands and feet of Jesus right here in our own town, making a difference one small step at a time. I have a great little sign over there that says celebrate every tiny victory. So every patient that we can love on, everyone that leaves here feeling the love of Christ, that's a tiny victory.
Since 1993, over 27,000 clients and their families have been served by the ministry of Parkridge, bringing clarity to the confusion and hope to the hopeless.